It was a busy day at Galactic Assembly. Hundreds of delegations from dozens of states and empires, all scurrying back and forth with tablets in hand, yelling at each other. Insults flew, as often as compliments. Boastful proclamations were met with rolling eyes and scorns from others. It was all a huge mess, one from which all the news reporters must have almost orgasmic happiness. But all of it came to a standstill when they came. Battered, bruised, in grey-black camouflage uniforms. Simple military decorations making stark contrast to their iron faces. These were veterans. These were warriors. These were the humans. Delegation of theirs was marching straight to their seats, opposed by no one. After all, everybody knew far too well that the reason for this assembly was the human Rockovite war. Once, in the past, Rockovites ruled over a large and terrifying empire. Their regime held to power by sheer brutality and unimaginable cruelty. Genocides, mass murders, famines, deportations, relocations, re-educations. They were single-handedly responsible for the greatest crimes against any sentient species ever committed. They arrived at an innocent world, killed billions, and then basically enslaved those who remained. But as if it was not enough, they wiped out the history of their victims and forcibly re-educated their own children to their image. And often those were sent to die in wars, believing in the glory of their treacherous leaders, instead of the native Rockovites. Humans were among them. 100 years ago, Earth underwent a Rockovite invasion. Approximate numbers say that 5 billion casualties were suffered, with another 2 billion dying in the aftermath of Rockovite victory. More than half of their total population died under their rule. Earth turned from a lush green planet to a toxic wasteland. Fresh air replaced with bitter ash and stinging gas. Voices of animals gone in exchange for clacking of giant machines. But no empire lasts forever. It is not fully grasped or known how the Rockovites fell. What is known is that corruption of their system led to economic collapse and power vacuum, effectively ending their empire, and giving a chance for all of the imprisoned nations to escape. And so it happened, that humans were free. Free of chains of their oppressors. By blood alone they outlasted their torturer. Humans made a great stride in their absence. Thanks to cloning technology, their population skyrocketed. Building closer ties to the western arm of the Milky Way, they built some powerful connections. Earth was being healed, famines eliminated. Sky was slowly turning back blue, and grass began to grow again. Rockovites watched all of this with disgrace and hatred. They wished nothing but to have their empire back. But those days were long gone, or at least so everyone thought so, until a year ago. When the Rockovites invaded again, against all logic, against all sense of reason, their only motivation was greed and a sense of self-haughtiness. They thought of themselves to be superior to everyone else, to be above law. It was their divine right to conquer, murder, rape and maim. And they were proving themselves to be the greatest danger to galactic civilizations yet again. They must be stopped. The assembly of the beings rustled as one of the humans stepped forth. All eyes in the seats focused on him. He stood battered, tired, yet defiant and strong. His eyes had a deep glare that made anyone looking at him uncomfortable. He had an air of leadership around him, a promise of unbreakable will, a true human spirit. He looked around and began his speech. Representatives of the Galactic Council Assembly, we are gathering here today during the 1-year anniversary of the Rockovites invasion. It was a hard year. The continent of North America was glassed. Europe was glassed. Large parts of Asia were glassed. Countless billions are losing their lives right now, again. Our brave soldiers are now in the trenches of Earth, Mars and Luna. They fight, they endure, knowing surrender or capture is a worse fate than death. Thermonuclear rockets are raining weekly by the dozens. We are able to shoot down the majority of them, but there are still ones that slip through. To that end, I want to give my sincere gratitude to the United States of Agripli for their excellent planet-borne defense systems, and in the name of Earth, would request more. More weapons! Exclaimed a different ambassador. The human shot a glare at him. Yes, more weapons. We need more weapons. You already have enough, said the ambassador. We can't give you more without risking a direct war with the Rockovites ourselves. Is that what you want? A galactic-wide war between empires equipped with planet-killing weapons? The human frowned. With all due respect, sir, he said, with a tone so poisonous it could kill 100 Frasnell's rabbits. While you are sitting on your asses, our lives are on the line. Every day, millions clash, hundreds of thousands die. We fight for every city, every hill, every river. We fight for every inch of our land. We fight for every bit of our freedom. Now the human was almost shouting from the top of his lungs, his eyes a fiery gaze. We die for you, for all of you. Remember that, sir. Remember that when you go home and see your family. Remember that when you see your city. Remember that when you see your planet, because we don't. We don't get to see our families. They are all dead. We don't have cities anymore. They have all been vaporized. Our planet we were trying so hard to rescue is now all but gone. He turned his face away from the ambassador, and now was looking at the general public. You can't even imagine the amount of pain and suffering we are going through. The siege of New York, the massacre of London, the rapings of Tokyo. Those are all but fractions of atrocities Rockovites have committed. There are countless more across the solar system we don't know about yet. He took a breath before continuing. We are facing an oppressor whose army is 10 times larger than ours. The navy, 100 times larger. Yet we are standing here, fighting him to a standstill, even pushing him back. We managed to regain all of Australia and parts of Canada. All through our blood and your weapons, and now we are asking for more. But why, though? Said a different delegate. The war is now at the stage where your survival is guaranteed. The Rockovites clearly are not capable of conquering more of your land anymore. Wouldn't it be better then, that a peace is negotiated? The longer the war is waged, the more humans are going to die, and the Earth will get even more ravaged. Why not settle for peace, even if you have to give up some of your land to them? Do you realize you are risking the chance that they will use a planet killer if they are about to lose? A human swallowed a chuckle. I wish I could afford to be as naive as you, he said. To be blunt, it will not solve anything. Rockovites don't respect agreements, treaties, or anything you could call diplomacy. Is it not true that this very council made a disarmament treaty with them a decade ago? How well did that go? How many planet killers have been dismantled? The delegate drooped his head. None. Exactly, smirched the human sourly. There is only one thing they respect, a threat of total annihilation. Only an opponent with a bigger stick than theirs will force them to behave. You are the largest military alliance in the galaxy, created in the past during the height of the Rockovites' power, with a specific purpose to combat them. You carry the biggest stick, but you are scared of it. It is admirable that you have been so responsible. Wars all but ceased to exist after the formation of your alliance, but the Rockovites don't see it that way. The Rockovites see someone who they can bully, extort, and threaten, knowing they are too scared to use their big stick. The human eyed all the assembled aliens before him. They are scared of you, scared shitless. They were scared we would join you soon too, so they invaded, the results of which can be witnessed in the asteroid belt, or as it is locally known, the greatest Rockovite scrapyard in the galaxy. You need to show force. You need to show there are lines that they cannot cross, because to every crime your allies don't respond to, they will attempt to replicate on a larger scale. Murmur spread through the seats. Similar narratives were discussed often between the great powers, but no one was willing to take the risk. They tended to analyze the situation carefully, and decide afterwards on the best course of action. However, to the human eyes, it was often too late and too little. It was frustrating. Why are they holding back? Humans will make quick work of this war if all of the promised equipment arrived a year ago. The human ambassador knew this, so he continued his speech. I am urging you, send us more weapons. It is not enough to not lose. We must win this war. We must win, so the Rockovites will not hurt anyone else ever again. Give us starships. Give us ammo. Give us your shields, your advanced AI. Give us your metal, and we can win this war. For you, for us, for the benefit of everyone." Then he deeply exclaimed, "For if we fail, you can be sure that your alliance is next. But if we succeed, there will finally be peace. A peace that could last for the next 10 generations. We can't do it without you, at least not without catastrophic losses. Their government is already in tatters thanks to your sanctions and our stubbornness. It's only a matter of time before their rotten house of cards fails. The more weapons you send, the faster it does so, and more lives are saved." The human raised his head with determination and zeal, unseen by anyone before. "I rest my case. I believe you can make the right decision. We will fight. We will never surrender, because surrender to us means only one thing: extinction. Glory to Earth. Glory to heroes." With that, a grandiose silence fell for a moment before erupting in applause. One by one, different ambassadors stood up in ovation. One by one, empires bonded together over mankind. One thing was assured that day: humans would not fall. Their allies will not allow it. And as their confidence slowly rose, plans for a great counterattack would form over the horizon, which would mark the end of the Rockovites for good. Only the future will tell what fate awaits them.